say someone is going through burnout, what would be the worst possible thing for them to do in that moment?
Oh, that's such a good question. I'd have to think about that. Because usually when you hit the absolute bottom of the pit, like the bottom, you can't do anything. Like you often when you go through real burnout, your body and system will automatically force you to not be able to work anymore. And so there's often, even if you wanted to make the choice to try to continue keeping the speed up that you were at, you often won't be able to do that. I very rarely see someone who does this because usually they adjust because they realize that something made them get here and they have to adjust something. But I would say not adjusting to reality would be the worst possible thing you could do because then you'll just hang out in the pit for forever. Like you'll just keep kind of making enough energy for yourself to jump out just a little bit and then you'll end up right back there again and then you'll come out a little bit and end up right back there again. So like I have seen, usually not people that I know personally, but I have observed people basically hanging out somewhere around the bottom of the pit for a long time because they're just not willing to readjust themselves in whatever way it would take readjusting. Because sometimes it isn't slowing down the pace of release. Sometimes it's bringing on help or, hiring other people to give assistance when you need it, or getting a part-time job to defer some of the pressure of the finances so that you can continue to do the releasing and writing. But yeah, I would say not adjusting is the biggest mistake that people could make. But I rarely see people do that.
Well, I'm glad to hear you don't see people doing that very often, at least.
Well, most of it is because they can't. Like burnout is so it's so biological that they're usually just not able, and it's never something they're happy about, but they're usually just not able to continue, especially from a creative perspective. Like we will sometimes see teachers being burnt out and continuing to teach for decades after they burned out and just staying in that burnout place because they can't do anything else professionally. They've committed to wanting to do that job. But with writers, we don't tend to see that because you have to have creative access in order to produce the work that we do, and usually burnout shuts off the access to your creativity.